What up? What up? My people's all right out here. You know what? Much love to everybody, man. I just want to communicate with my peoples. You know what I'm saying? For a minute. Good day today. Um, May this transmission. You know what I'm saying? Find you and good spirits. You know what I'm saying? To where you feel like listening to some worthwhile information that's thought provoking that can help get you through the day and will broaden your knowledge spectrum about the realities of this world we living in. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Positive energy activate constant elevation, and like I was saying, I just want to communicate with my people, my soul family, my tribe, my nation, my fellow man. You know what I'm saying? Being a light worker, sharing thought provoking information, points of views, that serves as a matter of representing justice. You know what I'm saying? Peace, freedom. You know, knowledgeable perspectives. That serve as pillars of our society. You know what I'm saying? We over here, right here, this channel right here, man, I'm about channeling positive energies that represent love from the heart. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hating. But unfortunately, you know, a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, they hate instead of love. It's just the duality of life. It's just how it is. But for the record, you know what I'm saying, I'm representing love, you know what I'm saying? And instead of hating, man, you know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's get off into these perspectives, that I want to showcase, dealing with knowledge itself, of course, and representing the knowledge, you know, that is regarding that I am what my foremothers and forefathers were. You know what I'm saying? As supreme beings, great, beautiful indigenous star seeds and gods and goddesses, you know what I'm saying, that have left a legacy, a great legacy on the planet for us to benefit from today, representing sanity, being in our right mind, and showing and having a value for intelligent uh, perspectives of basically just, yeah, valuing intelligence in life. You know what I'm saying? With good taste and character. So, where I want to start at, like, yeah, where to start? You know what I'm saying? It's so much, but I'm gonna just start it off like this, right? Regarding us having high self esteem about ourselves, because in this life, we got to be a fighter. You know what I'm saying? For our rights, we got to be a fighter. You know what I'm saying? To stay alive, we gotta fight, for what's rightfully ours, to where we can secure what's rightly due ours. You know what I'm saying? Because there are competitions out here that don't want to see you with nothing. You know what I'm saying? There are forces out here that don't want to see you with nothing. They don't want to see you. They don't want you to thrive. They don't want you to succeed in your endeavors as far as your business or your um, spiritual success or your physical success. These are, things, that, for us who are strong in our spirit, you know what I'm saying, who, get confronted with such challenges. We just have to overcome the challenges. And it was a saying that struggle is ordained for us to overcome struggle, and you know through overcoming them struggles come ease as a result of the struggle. But when you overcome that struggle, it's a saying, you know what I'm saying? New levels, new devils. So the Most High gives us an aptitude, a natural ability to still nullify the works of these devils. You know what I'm saying? Where we constantly be victorious to continue to win in life. So to navigate, you know what I'm saying, through these deeper perspectives, you know what I'm saying, about what's out here. Knowledge is power. And with that said, I want to go into these particular readings that's going to take us multiple places. This is like a journey into the depths of thought, connected with our the Kemetic deity Tahuti, who represent wisdom, as far as like the sacred wisdom of Tahuti, thought. So when it comes to our thought processes, may we have the strength to face certain perspectives that may try to challenge our foundations based on what we think we know. There's other perspectives that can connect us to greater realities that will equip us with powers that will qualify us to continue to become perfected in our being and our experience of being gods and goddesses in the manifestation of the flesh while we live here on the planet. Now, there is certain people who represent darkness to where they want to keep a lot of us out here under a certain mind control condition, to where we would be like servile in character. And being in that particular state will qualify you to be an energy source for them to feed off of, where they can maintain their existence at the cost of your blindness or your lack of knowledge. For instance, it's this particular esoteric perspectives about how things is socially in operation out here when it comes to everyday people, situations, and circumstances, so to speak, right? Now, this is a reading going into the esoteric truth about competition between peoples. Okay, now, specifically dealing with us as a people, right? To all African athletes, entertainers, politicians, celebrities, heroes, participants, or spectators, etc. More often than not, a person endures a great hurt from what they do not know. Do not know. I'm going to read that again. More often than not, get some more light here. okay, more often than not, a person endures a greater hurt from what they do not know than what they think they know. The descendants of ex-slaves in the United States need a crash course in natural uses of their bodies. If man does not know precisely what the body is to be used for, then he and his fellow men will misuse and abuse it. So, the history of certain slavery conditions was unnecessary, but yet brothers and sisters went through it anyway at the hands of a remorseless people who acted out a certain crime against humanity to where how can anyone do such a thing? You know what I'm saying? But this goes on to read. If man does not know precisely what the body is to be used for, then he and his fellow men and women will misuse and abuse it. For instance, Noble Drew Ali taught in his Creation and Fall of Man, chapter 1, that creative fate gave to man the spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul, gave him a body of flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Now here we are. We on the plane of reality here, this physical plane made manifest. But when it comes to our civilized behavior toward one another, is it pristine or is it questionable to the point where there's a lot of corrections that are to be made in the human family for people to basically be upgraded in their conduct in terms of how we can harmonically, harmoniously get along with one another? Because it seems to be that it's something inside people in terms of a spirit that they have, or the character that these people like that people have, is a product of some kind of DNA instructions in terms of how certain people is turning out to be in all areas of people activity. You know what I'm saying? As far as dealing with what they call high society, principalities in high places, or categories of society that constitute certain classes, where you have people who consider in the lower class who actually, you know what I'm saying, is no different from the people who was considered the higher class, but it's a financial difference that distinguished the two to the point where, okay, now we living in a society where it's about the haves and have nots, or the rich, you know what I'm saying, and the poor. But in light of those realities, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the rich and the poor, you know what I'm saying, um, we all, you know what I'm saying, it's within a certain divine scheme of things to still connect with the higher purpose, you know what I'm saying, of being perfected beings representing our higher selves out here. But due to these competitions that's going on, it's certain forces, you know what I'm saying, that want to keep a lot of us in a sleep state to where we can be exploited. But due to us waking up, those exploitive forces don't have anything to feed on, which is a good thing for us because in this life, you know what I'm saying, we have the right to tap into our potential, right? Now, regarding our potential, I'm going to continue to read. Okay, man is not the soul and the body. His essence is pure spirit, as pure as the divine source from which he came. His body was given to him for the sole purpose to function on the plane of things made manifest. But today, the majority of man's usage of his body is absorbed in competition and not being used to function in harmony with the soul and God's state. The paradoxically of this status is applied to the so-called blacks, mainly because they have no idea of who they are and therefore is the most vulnerable to bodily misuse. Now, to protect ourselves from bodily misuse or being mistreated in any other area of our lives, we have to be enlightened and stand on certain principles that will not allow that to happen through actions and deeds based on the knowledge that we possess in our intellect that we represent, that serve as a sign for other people to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like my lifestyle is such, it's in such a way to where can't nobody run any particular kind of games on me. And we all should be in a state of mind where our conduct is based on the knowledge that we possess, you know, that keep us protected to where people and forces can't play any particular kind of games over on us. They can't, you know, pull these particular kind of games off toward us. You know what I'm saying? As a defense mechanism and a protection mechanism against the particular forces and type of people. Now, what is it about our people to the point where we don't know how to properly use our body or have our persons properly protected? How can we have our persons properly protected in a society that define us legally in a certain capacity to where either you have certain rights or you don't have any rights at all, but these particular forces give you privileges, therefore having power over you based on their own discretions and decisions that allows you to do what you do and have what you have. When the Most High blessed us with natural birthrights that can't nobody take away from us at all, as long as we know what those natural birthrights are and stand on that, right, and enforce that, we are the real law in natural nature in that capacity and light. So knowing how to properly use our bodies protects us against unnatural acts, unnatural injustice, and we will not put ourselves in a position where certain opportunities or negative things can take place to the point where We don't put ourselves in a position to be negatively affected by adverse forces. Okay, this goes on to read, right? The foundation of Western competition rests solely upon duality, which spurn the lists of little differences used by Willie Lynch, a master of mental slavery among men. Under the auspices of competition, African bodies in the Western Hemisphere are misused around the clock. Be it sports, entertainment, styles, family, religious, or professional athletics, the body is subject to stress, drugs, garbage foods, injuries, concussions, and unnatural diseases manifold. Forgotten is the most basic of all bodily conditions. Health is speaking further on the divinity of the human body. Ali teaches. Now, the blessings of man, of thy external part are health, vigor, and proportion. The greatest of these is health. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. Competition is now used as the home of physical fitness. What the once called colored people must come to realize is competition has nothing to do with health. Health is one of the greatest harmonies of life and is holistic maintenance of the human body, which is a gift from the Creator, our great Creator. Now, competition is the most dangerous in your face killer, pacifier to African minds since the advent of the United States 14th and 15th Amendment. Now, these amendments is considered shallow graves that our people is buried in. So, in terms of our people being buried in these shallow graves of the 13th, of the 14th and 15th Amendment, right? That is a dead state. So the saying of our people being civiliter mortuus, right, is a politically and legal status or dead state legally where our people have no standing in legal affairs, right? Now, going back to the competition, when it comes to the civilized nations of the world, how can people who are civiliter mortuus compete with people who are civilly alive that have standing in law in the civilized world? There is no competition for people who is politically dead or legally dead in that particular status. Now, the real competition, you know what I'm saying, where we can win in this particular competitive area of life is to be in our proper person status through studying the right information where we can make the proper corrections we need to make as far as status correction on the record as Moors, Yamasee, Creek Seminoles, Ouachitas, Moors, that's indigenous to the land. Now, this society is in constant competition in these perspectives that we is not being educated in. but due to the great works of the topic when it comes to the exhuming of a nation, digging us up out of that condition into a living perpendicular where we upright with intellectual remembrance of these truths that are basically supposed to be axioms of life. An axiom is a self evident universal truth that should be commonly known to everyone. But due to us taking, um, but due to our people experiencing a great hypnotic amnesia uh, state of mind, a reawakening has to take place, a resurrection has to take place, which is through uh, order of information that is designed from a divine angle, you know what I'm saying, to put us where we really supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? To where we will be victorious without opponents. You know what I'm saying? And winners without certain competition. You know what I'm saying? Because really, gods have no competition. Goddesses have no competition. So being back one with our true state of affairs, you know what I'm saying, would just put us where we need to be without having to worry about unnecessary competitions. Now, this resume to read. It is in the nature of competition to sedate the plight of the God self and keep the mind earthbound. Now, if there are greater realities to this world, why are there certain forces want to keep us in an uneducated state and keep us pulled down to where this is talking about earthbound when we are actually cosmic beings? Okay? Cosmic beings. Now, earthbound. While we on earth, what kind of experiences are we having on earth? Well, we earthbound. What kind of the greatest asset that we have, one of the greatest assets we have that our body is made up of is our brain. You know what I'm saying? The utilization of our minds with brain power. But there were certain forces, you know what I'm saying, who tried to stop light from entering into our minds. But due to those forces being defeated where light have entered our minds, we tap it into our potential as light beings again. Now, with that said, this was speaking about us. Certain forces want to keep us earthbound, though. What do we really know about our planet? What do we really know about the earth to where we earthbound, but we really are cosmic beings connected with higher beings that's called extraterrestrials. Now, if we are connected with these higher beings and extraterrestrials, right now, what is our purpose in terms of being connected to them? What is it going to benefit me by being connected with these beings? Or what is it going to benefit me being connected with the Orisha spiritual systems in Africa? And by me being connected to the Africans, the seed of the Africans, the seed of the Moors, the seed of the Egyptians, in terms of who we are. These great tribal names: Nubians, Yamasee, Creek Seminoles, Ouachitas. These bloodlines connected with greater stories and ancient civilizations. What does this mean in terms of being reconnected to the real picture of who we really are that was hidden from us? For instance, with that said, for starters, okay, now there is ancient laws and ancient constitutions that have been constructed by our people, that the Constitution of the United States based its constitutional understanding on. Okay, for instance, in part one of that transmission that I put together called it was called Eternal Power Part One. Basically, this is a continuation of that part as far as this being Eternal Power Part Two. Now, as far as being earthbound, there's a lot of government organizations on the planet that is in place to serve the purpose to have what you would think, to have respect, for the rights of the people on the planet, because we are indigenous to the land. Now, for instance, it's this civic perspective, right? That state. We are teaching, right? We are teaching things to help make our people better citizens. The Constitution is the foundation of de jure law in all civilized governments. The Constitution of the United States Republic of North America is of ancient origin. You hear that? Ancient origin. What is the ancient origin the Constitution of the United States is based on? And is the supreme law of the land. The laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The civic duty of all who are part and parcel of the said government have the outstanding duty and responsibility to command the enforcement of our national constitution by name and by principle. It is in place to secure the substantive rights are real rights of substance, substantive rights of all free national beings. And that's who we are. We are free national beings, right? The peace, prosperity, and tranquility of society depends upon the enforcement of those ancient governmental and constitutional principles. Now, going back to ancient civilizations on the planet, keep that in mind. We are part of ancient civilizations on the planet. Ancient civilizations. Now, no community of natural people can ever be stable, free, or secure if their inalienable rights and immunities, which are secured by the Constitution, are allowed to be abridged or ignored. So we always have to be mindful that our constitutional rights have standing and are not to be infringed upon. Where there is no constitution enforcement except there be political abuses of authority, where there is no constitution enforcement except there to be political abuses of authority, a color of law, and foul disorder breeding amongst the natural people. So, to avoid the foul, disorderly conduct that a person can get caught up in that's outside the bounds of the respected constitutional standards. You know what I'm saying? That's not real law. Them violations, that's color of law. That don't have nothing to do with real law. Now, no community, excuse me, there is no doubt that a major feature marking the social culture of North American political affairs is that of the heavily entrenched practices of human rights violations. Now, human rights violations should not be taking place, but yet we have people who have taken oaths of office, right? And in their oath of office, they say, with the help of God, or so help them God, as far as them believing in God as a safeguard against violating people's rights, end up violating people's rights anyway. So that goes to show you how the devil be in the midst of the character of these people who don't protect our constitutional rights, because the Constitution is motivated basically by God consciousness and natural laws of the universe, organic law. But we're going to get more deeper into this perspective as we go on. Now, let's continue to read. There is no doubt that a major feature marking the social culture of North American political affairs is that of the heavily entrenched practices of human rights violations. Many of these common violations have been loosely categorized as racism, biases, etc. However, all citizens of the free national government of the United States of America should be aware of the international laws which have been instituted to address these matters. The United States of America is an obligated party to those human rights agreements. The question before us all is, who is who? This is going to get deep. Now, who is who on the planet Earth, to take it even much deeper? Who is who on the planet Earth, and who is who in the affairs of society? Okay? Privately or publicly. Okay, now, who is who? And where do we, the natural people, stand on these matters? Are we fulfilling our responsibility to enforce the supreme law for the protections of the substantive rights of all the natural people? Now, we have public officials who have taken oaths of office, right? And all politicians, right, and officers of the courts of the Republic, United States of America, and all federal and military officers, and all state and municipal officers, sheriffs, mayors, councilmen, councilpersons, freeholders, and policemen, etc., are bound by law to support and defend the Constitution. The following is an example of the standard oath which all the above must take for the public record. Right? Now, this is their oath of office. They say, I, whatever their name is, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will or they will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, they got to include themselves in this, right? But I think they not thinking about that part. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. So these officials who go outside the character of this oath become an agent of the devil and the evil ones and be of the evil one and fall victim to a mentality to where they stoop low and do things that can get them caught up by the law, this which is the supreme law of the land, which is the yardstick of law that we all base our conduct on. So of course people who take these oaths, you know, is not above the law in any way, shape, form, or fashion to the point where they will be punished. Now, each justice, judge, and justice of the peace shall, before entering upon the duties of his office, take and subscribe an oath that he will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State Republic to which he or she is a citizen member, and that he or she will faithfully and impartially discharge his or her office to the best of his or her ability. The oaths of all judges of the courts inferior to the superior court and the oaths of justices of the peace shall be filled in the office of the county recorder, and the oaths of all other justices and judges shall be filled in the office of the Secretary of State. Now, all of these people who are public officials or who have took these official positions know the oaths that they take, which they should not go against, because actually if they violate the law and go against those particular oaths, there's consequences for that where they lose some positions and get punished, fined, penalized as a violator of that particular of a law. Especially when it comes to violating the rights of other people, they can be held liable for the violation of people's rights. So, due to us having inalienable rights, you know, you have people crossing the line doing things where they should be punished for, but in some instances they don't get punished for, which goes to show you that it's something else going on there. And those kind of experiences for where those people get away or think they're getting away, you know, with certain injustices that they commit. You see, it's a bigger picture to this. You know, the laws of karma is real. So people are going to be held accountable for what they do, especially when it comes to us being the type of people who are to know better as mature, intelligent people, you know what I'm saying, in a society. Now, I'm saying that to say this. When it comes to us, indigenous people of power, right? There is a declaration on the rights of indigenous people that's recognized by the Constitution. And this right here is affirming that indigenous people are equal in dignity and rights to all other people, while recognizing the rights of indigenous peoples to be different, to consider themselves different and to be respected as such. Regarding us as Moors, Nubian Moors, Yamasee Creek Seminoles, Washita Moors, um, and what have you regarding indigenous tribes of the planet. Now, again, affirming that indigenous people are equal in dignity and rights to all other peoples while recognizing the rights of indigenous people to be different, to consider themselves different, and to be respected as such. The following are 6 articles of Part 1. Right? Article 1. Indigenous people have the right to the full and effective enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and international human rights law. Article 2. Indigenous individuals and peoples are free and equal to all other individuals and peoples in dignity and rights, and have the right to be free from any kind of adverse discrimination, in particular that based on their indigenous origin and identity. Article 3. Indigenous people have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Article 4. Indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, economic, and social and cultural life of the state. Article 5. Every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Article 6. Indigenous people have the collective right to live in freedom, peace, security, and distinct people, and to full guarantee against genocide or any other acts of violence, including the removal of indigenous children from their families and communities under any pretext. Now, professional people have ethics, right? Wherever we at, we have, like they say, you judge a tree by the fruit it bears, right? Whatever we call ourselves, whatever we represent in life, it's either we a good fruit or a bad fruit. It's either we a good apple or a rotten apple. And if you of a negative aspect in terms of you being a rotten fruit or a rotten apple, you are useless. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have a choice between eating a clean, ripe, nice orange in comparison to a rotten orange, I would select the good orange because it's useful. I have no use for a rotten orange. So the rotten fruits are undesirable elements in our world or society that is not serving a good purpose. So for the good fruits out here, you know what I'm saying, who is a product of a tree that bear good fruit, has roots in divine, it has roots in divinity. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, beyond us being earthbound, you know what I'm saying? There's higher realities going on around us. For instance, right? Okay, for instance, knowledge itself is important. We have to know ourselves today. Now, this is a question, and These are questions and answers presented by the master teacher. One of these questions, right, is who are the people of the sun? The people of the sun are anyone who by nature is born in tropical environments, inclusive of Mexico, the Caribbean, Hawaii, South America, Puerto Rico, Florida, etc. Right? People of the sun are Melanite people or children bearing the gift of melanin from the Anunnakis in their genes. Wait a minute. Who are the Anunnakis? Who are these beings? Who are these who are these extraterrestrial beings? This goes on to read. From the Anunnaki in their genes. Genes, talking about genetics here. Melanin can withstand exposure to heat up to 1,250 degrees Fahrenheit and still retain most of its properties. A melanite child's body, a melanite person's body is like a conductor of energy, which enables electricity to flow through it, or like a battery, meaning it always partially charged. The sun serves as an energy recharger for the melanite people. So we get charged up energy by us basking in the rays of the sun. We have a connection to the sun, right? What does this have to do with the eternal power in terms of the eternal power that we are connected with? A whole lot. This goes on to read. Our body is like a conductor of energy, right? Which enables electricity to flow through it, or like a battery, meaning it's always partially charged. The sun serves as an energy recharger for our bodies. This is able to happen because of the process called resonance. Resonance. Resonance is the capacity to move back and forth at a certain rate in space and time. This resonance or rearrangement of the electrons causes the structure of these electrons to be able to hold much more energy as they vibrate back and forth within the pigment called the melanocyte. Now, do people of the sun need vitamins? Yes, we do. Yes, however, as people of the sun, you don't naturally require the same amount or type of minerals and vitamins as Caucasians. As melanin is being produced, it is distributed within the organs of the body. With with each step in production, certain nutritional components and particular minerals are required, including vitamin B, um, pyridoxine, copper, riboflavin, pantothenic acid, tyrosine, and or um, phenyl, phenyl, phenylalanine, etc. Biochemical, right? Reaction. Each biochemical reaction in the chain is controlled by a specific enzyme, right? If all of the essential enzymes, vitamins, and minerals are present, the pigment melanin is produced in considerable quantities. Caucasians who are lacking in an adequate amount of melanin now get injections of synthetic melanin to ward off infections and viruses. There is also a pill they have now called melatonin, which is supposed to prevent skin cancer, sleeping disorders, age related diseases, and prevent or cure jet lag. It is also used to slow down the aging process and help prolong life. This product was discontinued because of side effects, one of them being the shrinking of the genital organs of the people that were using it. The secretion melatonin is a biological clock that governs the daily natural rhythms of the body. Most of melatonin is secreted at night between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Then it stops secreting during the day. Now, in terms of explaining why during this era of time that we live in, there are some things called a shift. A lot of shifts has been taking place in the earth and and out of the earth's atmosphere. In the universe, shifts is happening. The dual verse shifts are happening. The triverses shifts are happening. Um, the multiverse shifts are happening. In the omniverse, changes are happening. Right here on the planet, the mentality of a lot of people are shifting in radical directions. People of all nationalities, right? To where their behavior is causing them to violate the rights of other people, whether they know it or not, right? Now, when it comes to us as Nubians, or black people, which is a misnomer, colored people, which is a misnomer, or Negroes, which is a misnomer, or us African Americans, which is a misnomer, or Latinos, which is a misnomer. When in actuality, we are indigenous Moors, Yamasee, Creek, Seminoles, Washitaws, Nubian, Moors, even Tartarians. Um, we are basically being connected to our indigenous culture that elaborate on our true recorded history that can be proven and confirmed. Now, I'm saying that to say this. Why, when we speak about the truth of white history, some white people try to use reverse psychology, where the history we talk about regarding white people that they don't like, they say, oh, that's racism that you talking about. When it's the truth about actual things that people that's considered Caucasians have done. It's actual fact truth based on pragmatic events that actually took place, making it pragmatic reality. That's not racism. That's just a fact of of a God like me or a goddess, you know what I'm saying, just so happen to be talking about certain white history that's based on facts and truth, it's not racism. But yet, for some reason, when we talk about certain things that they may not like, they call it racism. But yet, when it comes to our history, now watch this now, but when it comes to our history that white people have written regarding our history that they wrote that's full of lies, they call it black history. So wait a minute. When y'all have altered the true history of our people that white people created, that they call history, that they lied about, when we talk about the history that they wrote about us, is considered history. The lies that they wrote about us is considered history. But the truth that we talk about regarding white people history is considered racism by them. See that kind of psychology and reverse psychology and trickery and reasoning? You know what I'm saying? That right there is deception. That is pure deception. So it's another question asked. Because I'm about to go into this particular question to shed light on conduct of people. Because a lot of people out here is losing their minds. So on my watch, being a sane voice amongst different personalities, to where it seems like people who don't value researching and doing the knowledge building, adding on, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I gotta be myself and be a channel of right knowledge to where I share information that produce order in the minds of the listeners, where people function properly with all due respect to, they already standing on principles of being a good person that is well rounded, that have a grip on themselves to where their conduct is agreeable. Now, as far as being in tune with ourselves, with the proper balance and sound mental health, and being a sane person, being separated from the unclean things of the world and society. Um, we are considered um, jewels of society. You know what I'm saying? People of good quality. Now, this goes on to read here, right? Like, it's like going into doing a psychological evaluation of other people. Why does it seem like Caucasians are becoming radical? They are regressing back to their true natural state, are they? The Caucasians are getting radical and frantic, switching from one thing to another. He went from using simple sports, right, to radical sports. Now they have this new game where they tie a rope around that neck and jump off a cliff just to get a high. That reminds me, just like today, I had seen on the news, you know what I'm saying? These two guys, they went up in the air in these two airplanes. So they objective, you know what I'm saying, in these airplanes was to Like I guess they was trying to they the planes was to take like a nosedive or something like that. Both of the planes, and before the planes hit the ground or whatever, the guys that was flying the planes had parachutes on. So the stunt that they was doing, they was jumping. They was to jump out of they planes into the opposite plane in the air, skydive through the air. This guy that was in this plane jumped out his plane. This guy that was in his plane jumped out of his plane. So they skydived down in the air while the planes was going down or whatever. And then they managed to go in each other's planes. One guy made it in his plane, the other guy didn't make it in his plane, which was very dangerous. It didn't work, but it still was like an adrenaline rush that they had got from that, which was very dangerous. But it was a stunt. But this just going into detail about how radical, some of them be, in terms of certain extreme things that they do. I wouldn't do. I'm not into that kind of stuff, but still, all of the civilizations taught them going back into like um, the civilizers. You know what I'm saying? Like the Moors. You know what I'm saying? Who taught Europeans and got them through the Dark Ages into the Renaissance area. You know what I'm saying? Uh, through civilizing them, so to speak. Um, all other civilizations taught to them by, for instance, uh, brothers that's recorded in the scriptures, such as Abraham and Moses, to name a few, is going away fast from these people. So our people conduct is going to be governed by civilized conduct that our principles one can base their life on, to where they have harmonious relations with others. You know what I'm saying? And as a result of these changes that's taking place in the galaxies and in the universe, as the sun comes closer to the planet, they become less emotional. Therefore, Caucasians create these absurd new games. Now, anything to raise his adrenaline and stimulate his emotions. That's why a Canaanite can guzzle down much more alcoholic beverages or beer. An alcoholic beverage that is fermented in different molds, maggots, and bacteria than a Nubian. They can consume more alcohol than us. This is because Nubians are ether beings. That's what we are. We are ether beings. Nubians naturally have ether in their system. We naturally have ether in our system. This is where knowledge itself come in at. The ethereal body is the shell of your soul, of our souls. Nubians have an etheric cord that connects them to the spiritual plane or the spiritual realms or the spiritual world, which, when it's cut, it allows you to live an extended and independent etheric or ethereal life. That's why we are eternal beings. While, on the other hand, Canaanites don't have an etherical attachment. So they tend to be able to consume much more alcohol than Nubians or Moors before they get intoxicated. When Nubians take the alcohol test, they automatically fail because of the natural ether in our bodies. So be careful on the alcohol, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And take good care of yourselves and try to, just minimize certain habits and maximize healthy, positive habits. You know what I'm saying? Now, in addition to that, this other question was asked. What is the solar plexus? The solar plexus is the seat of a literal fire located at the great lobe of the liver that's burning inside you and I. First, firstly, notice the word solar. It comes from the Latin word sol, meaning sun, the sun, which the suffix with the suffix r, solar. The solar plexus is one of the 7 seats in the human body that enables man to live. The 7 seats are called chakras, right? Or seats of power or energy centers. Chakras in Arabic language is urush. The 7 seats superimpose major endocrine glands, the hypothalamus glands, the pituitary glands, the thyroid glands, the parathyroid glands, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, and the gonads. These glands work off of electromagnetic impulses received by the cerebrospinal system, which illuminate different colors of light. Some call this light aura, or an Arabic term called halat, regarding our aura. Now, regarding our aura, we have the root seat, the splenic seat, the solar plexus seat, the heart seat, throat seat, brow seat, and the crown seat. The chakras enable man, or again, the root chakra, the splenic chakra, the solar plexus chakra. The splenic chakra is the root chakra. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. The root chakra, the splenic chakra, the sacral chakra. The root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, brow chakra, and crown chakra. The chakras enable man to be in tune with the spiritual world, also called the astral plane or the ethereal world, which is the third of the 7 planes where emotions are manifested and all desires are exhausted. The light is a gift from the Most High, channeled through human beings by the Anunnaki. Now, getting back to the Anunnaki, right? That's taking me here. Now, our bodies, okay, as far as, okay, these means the Anunnaki, connecting the physical body to the spiritual body by way of the etheric cord. Okay, now the Anunnaki. Now there's realities going on, you know what I'm saying, in this world amongst us. You know what I'm saying? Where you got these beings out here. Wow, it gets deep. That I want to speak about dealing with the reptilians. Okay, agreeable and disagreeable ones. The grays, agreeable ones and disagreeable ones. Insectoids. These subterranean beings as well. It's all kind of activities going on our planet, you know what I'm saying, that's dealing with the broadest spectrum of who everyone is on the planet as far as the human family all over the planet, dealing with star constellations, etc. So we connected to eternal powers, and through our bloodlines, we have to keep the proper channels going where we can just stay on the right stations, frequencies, channels, and vibrations to be in tune with doing the right thing as a liberated minded person and being a free thinker, um, that know how to keep things in its proper perspective when being noble persons in the society. Peace and love. Be with y'all much later. Thank you for your time, and may we all increase in knowledge, becoming better persons and citizens of the society. You know what I'm saying? Much love to everybody. Peace.